I am so grateful that you've asked me to speak, and it is an honor to speak to everybody. So I thought about some things that I'm personally going through at the moment with doTERRA, and I thought I would share about some recent things that I'm doing with my own team. So I really hope this is useful to everybody who's here tonight, no matter what level you are at in doTERRA. And I hope it brings a lot of hope and maybe more joy back into your business as well. So we got our oils in 2010, and that's 11 years ago now, and we've always had a really fantastic upline support. We've always had a lot of great cross-line support as well in doTERRA, and I realized the people who have helped us the most have been other doTERRA leaders. I know that people can invest in money outside of doTERRA to get mentoring, but you will never ever get mentoring better than from another doTERRA leader, whether they're cross-line, whether they're upline. If I were to give anyone advice starting off, it is always reach out for help from people who are a higher rank than you, and listen to what they're saying or lean on what they're doing. So I'm kind of transitioning in my business where our business grew very big, and who I am today is a different person to who I was 10 years ago. And I started to get a little bit lost in my own business, where I was starting to become something for everybody. And I felt I was diluted. I was diluting who I was. So before Christmas, probably after I spoke to you last year, I started to really think about who I wanted to service, who was the tribe that I would love to spend time with, and that they would bring me joy. And I started to look at, people talk about who's your ideal customer, who's your ideal avatar, who's your ideal leader. And I decided to give my ideal avatar a name. So I named my ideal avatar Sarah. And I gave her all this criteria, what would we have in common? Why would I want to help her? And who was she? Where did she spend time? What did she like doing? Where was she unhappy? Where was she struggling in her life? And when I named my avatar, I looked at my existing business and I thought, how I am turning up in my business, Sarah would not be interested in that person who I'm being. So I took some time out and I started to think about Sarah and how would I grow my business if I was talking to Sarah. So I started a private training program with people I had identified as Sarah. And I said to them, how can we make doTERRA fun? How can we make doTERRA fit into our life where it's joyful, where it doesn't consume our every minute of the day, and it's not consuming, it's just joyful. So we started to put together I wouldn't say training program, but we started to figure out, what do we need to do to grow a doTERRA business, but love it along the way? And what we identified was that we didn't want to train for the purpose of training. We wanted training in action. So instead of me teaching them how to do an essential oil class, I just started running essential oil classes, and they came to see what I was doing and they joined in with me. Instead of teaching them how to do a business overview, I just ran business overviews with them where I was inviting my people. And everything we did it together in action. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I stopped training people and I just did the doTERRA activity that produces results, and they watched me do it. And they gave me all their feedback. You know, that was confusing, Rosie, or I don't know about that part, or I loved when you did this. And I got constructive feedback for about 12 weeks from them. And what we've created together, we love it. It only takes 3 hours a week for everything we do in doTERRA. And we have fun together. And just last night, I opened it up to all of my team. Now, all of my team are not Sarah's, but everyone caught on to the vision of what we had created because it brought us joy and we were excited about it, and it brought us joy. So one thing I would say is tune out from other doTERRA people and figure out who your avatar is. Who is that person? Is it a man? Is it a woman? You know, what age are they? Where do they spend time? Why would they use the oils? Because some people use the oils for different reasons. But every decision I make in my business now, I ask myself, would Sarah like that? Before I put up a post on my Irish Mummy page, before I make a decision with how I'm going to run a training, everything I think about, I ask myself, would Sarah like that? And if Sarah wouldn't like it, I wouldn't like it, which means I don't do it. Even if I see other leaders doing it and they're getting success. So I think it's really important that you build your business with a tribe that's going to bring you joy, and let everyone else fall into that afterwards. And it's taken me 10 years to go back to the drawing board to think about who Sarah really is. And it's energized me to want to start all over again in doTERRA, because we can get tired. It's okay to get tired when you're working a lot. So that's one thing, is finding your tribe, but identifying who they are. And the easiest way is to give that person a name and write down things about them, and let all your decisions with how you're going to serve them be how you make decisions. So all my calls are 30 minutes long, because Sarah does not have more than 30 minutes to give when her kids go to bed. So I keep everything to 30 minutes. I make sure that she knows she gets on for 30 minutes and I don't waste a minute of her time after that. That's what my Sarah wants. She's a busy mom and she wants to be with her kids during the day. So everything I do is at night time. And my Sarah doesn't want to talk to me on Saturday or Sunday. She just wants to talk to me during the weekdays. And she doesn't really want to talk to me during the middle of the day. She just wants to communicate at night time when her kids are in bed. So that's just to give you an idea of how that your avatar impacts the decisions you make. You might have an avatar who doesn't want to talk to you at night time and only wants to talk during the day. The second thing that I've realized is that in order to be consistent in doTERRA and to turn up as a big leader, like I'm talking about the bigger ranks, you have to be consistent. And it's very hard to be consistent if you do not have order in your home, if you do not have order in your marriage, if you do not have order in your relationships, and if you do not have order in your emotions. So if you have an upline who has order in those things, you can rely on them while you're sorting your stuff out. So for me, it was important that I got order in all those areas in my life so that I could turn up for my team and be consistent when they're struggling. So, you know, Sarah, maybe her marriage isn't great, or maybe Sarah doesn't have good boundaries with the people around her, and she's got struggles in her life. So for me, as the leader, I have my house in order. I have my my marriage in order now. I have, you know, my relationship with my children in order, and I have all these things in order, so I can turn up consistently now, and I can commit on a higher level to my team. So I would say to you, you don't have to have order in all those areas to start. But sometimes we want to be diamond already. Like, why aren't I diamond? Or I want to be blue diamond already. And it's because we're not ready yet. And when you're ready, you will know, because you'll have order in those things. So I would say to people, wherever you're at now in your doTERRA business is a reflection of the order you have in your life. And I would really look at those areas and ask yourself, how can I create more order? And who can I lean on? You know, you need to do classes. You need to be teaching people about the essential oils. You need to be teaching people about the business opportunity when it's appropriate. And you need to be mentoring your customers, and you need to be mentoring your leaders. This is why it's important to lean on an upline who's got their stuff together, because they can turn up consistently where maybe you can't yet. But I would say work on those things as well. So at the minute, my plan is for helping busy moms. That's who I really feel can get benefit from doTERRA. And I believe in Europe, especially, a solid silver with the power of 3 compensation plan should be everybody's goal. I believe everybody should be writing a goal every day that states that they are grateful that they are a solid silver with the 3rd level power of 3 consistently. If you can get to silver with the power of 3, you will have mastered the skills of teaching, finding, and leading to a certain extent. Make that your absolute focus. Because if you can get to solid silver with the power of 3, your home life is going to have order, because you'll have a financial income that's stable. You'll have room to breathe. And then you'll have room to figure out, do I want to go gold? Do I want to go platinum? Do I want to go diamond? Some people do not want to go past silver. So how I feel about silver is about believing in you. It's not about really believing in other people. It's about believing in you. And I feel that there's not one person on this planet that couldn't change their life by going silver. Because you believe in you. After that, you could do anything. You could write a book. You could create anything you wanted to. You could be a full-time mom. You could re-study. Like, there's so much you can do if you're a solid silver with the power of 3. And it's not a burdensome leadership. Because if you're a silver, there's probably a diamond above you. You can lean on your diamond. But it takes courage to go gold, platinum, and diamond after that, because you have to be a leader of leaders. And that is a stewardship. And again, when I say it's a stewardship, because by the time you create order in your own life, you have to decide, okay, I've got order in my life. Do I want to help others achieve that? And that's a stewardship. It's something that you have to take seriously. So I think sometimes we think, I'd love Diamond because it's a big paycheck. But when people get to Diamond, they realize it's not about the paycheck. It's about how you can contribute to the world. And yes, the money is fantastic and you're not worrying about money. But I believe that in Europe, silver is a wonderful, wonderful rank. I've said it probably before in a call, but silver with the power of 3, you are maximizing the compensation plan. Silver means that your 3 elites are getting their product for free. Silvers make up a platinum, and platinums make up presidential diamonds. So for me, I am 100% sold out to helping all of my team go silver. And I won't entertain any rank above that until they get to silver. Because so often people are like so fixated on diamond that they don't even get to elite. So I won't entertain if someone even talking about diamond. I just want them to focus on getting to silver. And if they get to silver, they might stay there because, let's face it, in Europe, it's a great wage to have. But if they have a burning desire after that to go gold, platinum, diamond, I believe they'll do it. But our biggest hurdle is getting people to silver, because silver people stay in the business. If people say they want diamond and they're putting it off until I'll do it next year, I'll go all out next year, they might never do it. But if someone's goal is silver from the get-go and that's your intention to help them get there, they'll get there and they'll never leave doTERRA. And they'll probably go on to create something great in their life outside of doTERRA as well. But the people who are going to go diamond will get there by themselves after that. They'll ask for help and you'll help them. But I would honestly encourage people, I'm a big believer in writing a goal down every single day and saying it every single day. So if everyone has a pen and paper, and I'm not speaking too fast for the translators, for those of you who are saying, yeah, Rosie, I want to be silver, it has to be silver with the power of 3 because that's where you maximize the compensation plan. And instead of being distracted and saying diamond, but not believing it's real for you and getting distracted in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, I would write, I am so grateful that I am a consistent silver with the power of 3 every single month. And I have built my business with like-minded, passionate, enthusiastic, positive people that I love spending time with. Now, I've also created one for my Sarahs, and that's that they've built a simple, streamlined business that gives them more time with their children and still allows them to contribute towards their household and afford all the little luxuries. Because my Sarahs want to be with their children, they want to contribute towards their household, but they still want their little luxuries. My Sarahs want to buy a nice little handbag. If they see a nice little pair of cushions they want for their couch, they want to be able to purchase that and they don't want to feel bad. But they don't want to take over the world. Some of them will take over the world, but that's not why they're doing doTERRA. So for me, it's all about having fun, having joy, and not being stressed anymore. And what we are creating together is really magical. So I did it with, I think I had 8 girls, and we, instead of using Facebook or WhatsApp, we used the new, what's the new little app? It's called, I'll think of it in a second. it's a new app that not many people were using it. So we said it would be not a noisy app to use. And we just communicated through messages on that. And we turned up every Tuesday night for an hour and every Thursday night for an hour. And I just ran through the training and I asked for their feedback. Ran through the training, asked for their feedback. And the greatest thing for them was they saw me creating, not being a perfect leader. They saw me creating something new, and it wasn't perfect starting out. It took 12 weeks to tweak it. And now they know how to create for themselves. They've seen me create. They've seen me ask for feedback. They've given me feedback. And now I've created my ideal system for my avatar. Now they can go and create their ideal system for their avatar when they choose it as well. So I thought about who brings me joy to spend time with. And the reason why I picked the name Sarah is because I have a few friends called Sarah, and I have joy when I'm around them. Like I feel good in their company. And I started to think about them, and I'm like, oh, they'd hate if I did that, or this would be the side network marketing they wouldn't like. And then I'm like, but what would they like? And I decided they don't want to be diamond. They just want to be silver. And they don't even want people to really know they're doing doTERRA. They just want to quietly pop on a Zoom and have a chat and, you know, bring people along that they know would like the oils. And they don't want to parade it everywhere. They just want to, you know, and I just thought about them, you know, what would they like? And if we were to turn up to have an oils class, you know, what would they like us to chat about? And what kind of vibe would they want? Would, you know, do they want it to be relaxed? Do they want it to be very professional? And I just started to think about the name is important, because when you give the avatar a name, it becomes a real person that, you know, you can actually ask yourselves questions. So, you know, me and Adam, we were talking about Sarah all the time, and my kids were like, who's Sarah? Why are you talking about Sarah all the time? I was like, Sarah's very important. And because I created this vision and I was excited about it, my team are excited about it now. You know, they can see that I have joy, and it gives them hope, because I think they're getting diluted in the message. So there's loads of people in my business who are not Sarah's, but I don't tell them about Sarah. So my team don't know about Sarah. You guys know about Sarah, but my team don't know about Sarah. I just created my system based on Sarah, but my team don't even know Sarah exists. They just see that I've created a new system and I'm excited about it, and I'm going to be training them in action with my system. So my team don't know about Sarah, but Sarah was about me creating a business that brought me joy. So for the past 2 years, I have stopped using the word, but I have to, and I should. Because who wants to turn up in your business when you feel like you have to or you should? So I kept saying, what would I want to turn up to? If I was going to turn up, what would I want to turn up to if I didn't feel guilty that I should turn up? And that was how I felt. I don't want to feel guilty anymore. I don't want to feel like I should. So I created it with that small core group, created what I wanted, and then I've gone back into my bigger group and said, hey guys, I've created this. It's brand new. This is the feeling of it. If you'd like to join me, fantastic. If you wouldn't, fantastic. But this is what I'm doing because it brings me joy. And if you want to see what I'm doing, you can follow me into the new group. And the feedback was really good. It was really positive. The other thing that I did is I stopped following all doTERRA people. And I'll tell you why. So I didn't want to be influenced by other doTERRA people because doTERRA people are already in doTERRA, which means they already have a new mindset that's doTERRA related. Whereas my Sarah that I'm trying to find doesn't know about doTERRA yet. So I can't talk to her in doTERRA language. I have to talk to her in language that she's used to hearing. And, you know, right now, my Sarah is decorating her house. So she's going to be drawn to me if I'm decorating my house, not talking about essential oils, because she doesn't know why anybody would use essential oils. She has no idea why someone would use essential oils. She would think that's weird. But when she gets to know me better, and then an essential oil appears, it's not as weird anymore. Oh, well, Rosie's normal and she likes decorating, and now she's got an essential oil. Bit confused what she's going to do with it, but I'm probably open to learning about it. So somebody on my team said to me that my social media account for the Irish Mummy and the podcast is not very doTERRA focused. And I said, yeah, it's not doTERRA focused at all. And they were like, but we thought that maybe you're distracted from doTERRA and you're not really doing much in doTERRA. And I said, oh, I do a lot in doTERRA, but my social media just isn't all about doTERRA because that's not what it's about. It's about me building relationships with my ideal avatar and connecting with them as a person first, and then later introducing doTERRA. And I think that's important for your avatar, is meeting them where they're at, not where you're at.
Rosie, I can see here in the chat also a question coming from, I guess, Russia or Latvia, because it's in Russian. And the question is, how much time is sort of the ideal period to get to silver?
This depends on your influence with other people in terms of how many relationships you have. Silver is 3 elites, which is 30 good customers in each leg. So that's 90 people. If 90 people spent 100 PV, you would be silver every single month. So how long is it going to take you to build a relationship with 90 good people?
Wow, that's a very good answer.
So it's 90 people. You may have one friend right now and you need to work on that and build your circle of influence, or you may have 400 friends. But I'm very relationship focused. I don't lead with the essential oils. I lead with getting to know people where they're at. And then when I see a need for the essential oils, I see, are they open to it being a solution? So yeah, you're 90 people away from silver.
Yeah, there is a similar question, how to get silver with power of 3. What do you recommend?
So one thing that I'm doing at the minute is what would create, obviously, LRPs. So when you think about first level power 3, you have to be on a minimum of 100 PV to order. So for me, I'm making some of my training only available to leaders spending 100 PV a month. So some of my trainings are not going to be available to somebody who's not spending a minimum of 100 PV, because if they're not committed to 100 PV, their mindset isn't right yet. So if your leaders are spending a minimum of 100 PV, that obviously contributes towards your power of 3. But what could you do to incentivize your customers to spend a minimum of 50 PV? You know, is there something extra you could offer your customers who are on LRP, who spend 50, or even if they're just on LRP? And I think it's more, sometimes we're so afraid of we're so afraid of losing people that we dilute the value of what we have to offer. So it's like if you give away, what do they say? Throwing pearls to swine. So if you value what you have to offer, you could incentivize people to get access to something of more value if they're on LRP, and train the power of 3. So I am focusing only on training people to silver and power of 3 so that they understand it. Most people don't go for power of 3 because they're trained for diamond. I'm only training people to silver and power of 3, which means their focus is on that. And wherever we focus, energy goes. So if you focus on diamond and it becomes too hard, you might just do nothing. But if you're just focused on elite, premier, or silver with the power of 3 structure, you've got tunnel vision for that goal. So I would train on power of 3.
And Rosie, there come also a couple of times the question about the app that you're using to communicate with your team.
For the small group of girls that I had, I used Telegram.
Thank you.
For the trainings, it's Zoom.
So what was the benefit of Telegram in comparison to other message services that you have been using? So why did you decide to change?
So I don't check my phone during the day, and I turn off all my notifications on all of my apps. So I don't get any notifications from my apps. And when you go into Facebook, you can get lost in Facebook. When you go into WhatsApp, you can get lost in WhatsApp. And when you go into Viber, you can get lost in Viber because everybody's on them. So we decided we would use Telegram because we would go in there just to check our messages between each other and then come straight back out, so that we didn't get lost on social media. So I don't use anything during the day. As soon as my kids go to bed, I do my work first. Then I use social media afterwards. Whereas if I had to go onto WhatsApp to get a link, I could just get distracted and do other things. Telegram is so new that you're not going to have as many messages in it to get distracted by. Someone asked me, was I Sarah? Sarah is probably me 10 years ago or 5 years ago. That's what I mean by meeting people where they're at. Sometimes we talk to people about doTERRA based on what we know about doTERRA now, whereas we have to think back to before we knew about doTERRA. How did somebody speak to us then, or what were we interested in then?
How to start with somebody new in doTERRA? So what would you recommend for somebody who is completely new?
Learn from somebody who's in action. So if you want to learn how to do a class, watch someone give a live class 4 or 5 times. If you want to see how a business overview works, watch someone give a live business overview 4 or 5 times. Because when you learn about something in a training, you don't see the dynamic of what a real situation is like. It's kind of like theory. When you see something in action, you start to visualize yourself giving that exact presentation. So for me, when I said about being able to turn up consistently, I want my team to be able to see a live class every week, a live business overview every single week, a live continued education every single week, and that they see it so much they get bored of me doing it and are like, I can do this, as opposed to me training them how to do it. I just want them to watch me do it. And then it saves me time. I'm managing my new prospects and they're learning, and it's the same time. There's no double time, which I don't have time for.
Wonderful. And then how do you find your leaders?
When you're in action, your leaders will find you. People are drawn to busy people. So what I would say is live your ideal life. And, if you're living things that bring you joy, you'll meet like-minded people. Eventually, they will need an essential oil. And as they get to know the oils in you, you might find that they need the business opportunity as well. And if you're in action, it's easy to just slot them into what you're doing. But if you're standing still, it's very hard for people to be drawn to you.
One more question. So the Russian audience is really, really active. Which topics in your classes have brought the best results?
Again, I sat down with my Sarahs and I said, what would we like to go to? If we were scrolling through the internet and we saw a topic, what would we go to? And I asked all of them to send me 10 topics they would like. And we all wrote 10 topics. And then when I looked at the topics, I saw a similarity in what they all were looking for. So I sent them back a list based on looking at everything we'd all written. And I said, okay, pick which ones you love. And they were like, oh my goodness, I would totally go to that. Oh my goodness, I want to go on that. And then that's how we decided what our schedule of continuous education would be.
Wonderful. That's also not only fun, but extremely practical. And then everybody's happy as well. So that is a great tip.
So the other thing is when you are doing it with a group of people, some weeks I mightn't have had somebody show up to my class, but they might have had someone show up to my class. But we did it together. So we were having fun. And because we enjoy what we're doing, anyone who comes into it now are going to have to fit into our culture that we've created. And we're not going to dilute our culture for anybody. So if people come in and they don't like it, I don't care. They can create their own culture. But this is what brings me joy. So I have to be true to me. And if it doesn't suit them, then I would be happy for them to go create their own culture.
How did you start your road to doTERRA? What was your goal and how it changed?
Originally, I was always interested in founders. As soon as I knew there was a good business opportunity with a timeline, I love timelines, I was interested in running for founders. So my first goal was solid gold, to be a founder. And before that, I was kind of sharing the oils, teaching classes, doing a little bit. But when I locked that goal in and I got tunnel vision, we made that happen, which is why I'm saying silver with the power of 3 is a fantastic goal to have as your first and foremost goal. And again, I really leaned into my upline. I didn't have my life in order. My mom had just passed away. I had a newborn baby. Adam had been living in Australia. We were living in my mom and dad's house. There was a lot of chaos in my life. And I leaned on the order that they had in their life. They had their life together. They were very good businessmen. I totally leaned on their influence and their ability to be consistent. And I just did my best around that. I gave everything I could, which, wasn't great a lot of the time. I found it, I just kept turning up. And I think that's the thing. When your upline sees you turning up and you're trying, they will bend over backwards for you. But the second that you lose sight of how much they can help you, that's when things start to fall apart. I've always valued my upline, and I've always seen that I was given free mentoring and they invested in me, but they invested in me because I turned up right up to the last day every month. The last day of the month I turned up, and I never left them hanging wondering what I was going to do at the end of the month. And it was like a mutual respect. I turned up for them and they turned up for me. And as a leader, I see where people stop turning up at the end of the month and they start to take advantage of the fact maybe that you're going to rank and that you want to rank. So I would say respect your upline and they'll respect you. And, you know, as a leader now, I would respect all of my downline, but I've learned that my rank is my responsibility. And if somebody stops turning up at the end of the month, I am happy to work with other leaders and take a hit in the short term to have a good culture long term.
Very, very important thing, the culture, coming back and back. It's really the key building block for long-term journey. Another question is, how do you know of someone who just registered is going to be a leader or not? Do you decide where to place the person? How do you make placements?
So when you're going for, if you're going for silver, it doesn't really matter where you place them because, you know, someone could be on your front line or you could place them on your second line. You can never tell who's going to do it. So I stopped getting fixated on who would do it and I just started placing people. So I suppose it's different now because now I'm presidential. I can place people to solidify my elites now. But, you know, if you're building a leg and you get it to elite or you get it to premier, if the person to the top slows down and you have a lot of volume in that leg, it's better to stay placing people there short term until the new leader appears. And sometimes you have to work with someone on your fourth, fifth, or sixth level, and that's the price you pay for your bigger ranks. So sometimes you'll be fortunate and you'll have a leader on your front line, and sometimes you'll have a leader and they're on your seventh line. And, you know, you have to let go of that. You have to be okay that some leaders might turn up lower down. But the majority that I would just say is, to be a presidential diamond, you've got a platinum, you've got a silver, and you've got an elite. If you place people on your fourth line, you would never have to give away their enrollership. But if you put them on your third or your second or your first, you might have to give away enrollership to help someone go platinum, someone to go silver, someone to go elite. So when you're going for presidential, to solidify your structure, you might place people on your fourth level to strengthen all your elites. But starting out, you know, your second level is fine for anyone when you're going for silver. If you're going for premier, you might have to put people on your third level just to strengthen the premiers. And then if you're going for, I suppose, blue, that's when you might put someone the line further down.
How many persons did you have in your class?
So when me and my little group were doing it, we committed to always being on the class. So even if I was giving the class every week, my girls would turn up. So there would always be the 8 of us in and out. If one of them might be able to get on some night, and they might have had, you know, 1 or 2 people join them.
Another very interesting question: did you have fears and discomfort when sharing about or telling about doTERRA in the beginning? How did you overcome that?
So I was never overbearing. I'm not that person where I'm just doTERRA, 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 because I wouldn't like that. So I was kind of more the person where I would book a class and then I would invite people to it where they knew they didn't have to come, but if they had an interest in learning about the oils, and I would mention maybe why it might interest them, that they were welcome to come. But if they have no interest in natural alternatives, then that was fine. Or I might meet somebody, and if we got talking and I learned that they had a problem, and I asked them, you know, what are they trying for it? And if I asked them were they open to something natural, and they said yes, then I would say, well, look, I've got a class if you'd like to come, or I could give you a sample. So I'm very much, if I'm going to proactively invite people, I tell them why I'm inviting them, why I think they might have an interest, but I understand if they do not have an interest. So I'm always giving them a way out, that they don't feel like they need to come and it'll be awkward if they don't come. And if I meet somebody, I wait until the opportunity presents itself naturally, that, you know, there would be a reason I would offer them an essential oil, or that I might ask them if they wanted to come to the class.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and from all the audience and from us for being tonight with us. It was amazing and great. I can't stop listening to you, but we won't keep you longer than that. So Rosie, thanks again very much. We wish you all the best. And I'm looking forward to our next meeting, when you will tell us how your relationship with Sarah is evolving.
Me too. I can't wait to give you an update.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.